The difference for a small business owner is your profile should tell me how you can help me. So your about section is not about you. We don't really care about you. As a consumer, we care about how you can help us. Instead of thinking, what do I post on LinkedIn to help people with my business? You say, how it is as important, if not more, to comment on other people's posts, because that drives people to check out your profile. And on your profile, they can see how you work, what your services are, connect with you, take the next step. You are not going to get any business that day or any contacts if you do not open your mouth. You just have to if you want to raise your visibility on LinkedIn, you have got to. The LinkedIn network has more money than the other social media platforms.
What about you, and welcome to Roots to Revenue, the podcast that gives you actionable tips to grow your business today. In the workshop, we have an incredible guest who's an expert at leveraging LinkedIn for business, Louise Brogan.
Thank you very much for inviting me here today.
Louise is a LinkedIn expert. She's a consultant, trainer, and speaker who helps businesses grow their visibility, build relationships, and generate leads, all without the overwhelm. She's worked globally at major events. She's even been invited to Buckingham Palace for her work with small businesses. I also believe she's just released a book, but more on that later.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Now, before we get into the podcast, let me tell you about today's sponsor. The podcast is sponsored by Jobber. Jobber is my go-to software. Gets me paid faster. My customers love it. Plus, it really helps free up time within my business. If you're a busy business owner and you don't have any free time, there's so many things in your business can be scheduled and automated that free up so as you can generate more income. Now, if you want to try it out, I'm going to leave the link down in the video description.
To get your exclusive Premier Lawns discount and 14-day free trial, it's premierlawns.link/jobber. In this episode, Louise is sharing insider tips on optimizing your LinkedIn profile, creating content that gets noticed, and turning connections into real business opportunities. Whether you're just getting started or looking to take your LinkedIn game to the next level, this conversation is packed with practical, actionable advice you can use right away. So if you're ready to learn how to stand out on LinkedIn, build genuine relationships, and grow your business, stay tuned. This is an episode you won't want to miss. Let's dive in. Louise, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Well, very nice to be here, guys, today. So my name is Louise Brogan. I have a podcast, a YouTube channel, both called Raise Your Visibility Online. I am literally recently, an author of the book Raise Your Visibility on LinkedIn. Robbie has his own copy here today. And I run a LinkedIn marketing agency. We help B2B companies, professionals who want to leverage LinkedIn. We offer content marketing services where we do all the content for clients. And we also do training and workshops for people who want to learn how to do it themselves.
So let's dive straight in. What makes a standout LinkedIn profile for business owners?
Okay. So LinkedIn for Business is different to LinkedIn for someone who's climbing the corporate career ladder. I think that's a very important distinction for people to make. So if you were in a job and you're going up the career ladder, how your LinkedIn profile looks is more set for recruitment and connecting with people who are going to help you get to the next level. If you are a business owner, your profile should tell me who you are, what you do, and who you can help. So it is a really different look and feel to the career professionals profile. So a standout profile has a couple of different things. A clear headshot of your face. That is recent. Not one that's like from 10 years ago.
When you're looking your best.
Or better.
Exactly. Not a photograph of you at your cousin's wedding, for example. So how you look on LinkedIn should be how I see you when I meet you in real life. So a nice, clean, clear headshot. Your name, your headline, which is the bit that tells us what you do and who you do it for. And then a fully filled out profile. And this is where a lot of business owners and a lot of people don't fill out their whole LinkedIn profile. And the reason it's important is for getting found on LinkedIn, because the LinkedIn algorithm will pull your profile up based on keywords you have in your profile. But also when you're active on LinkedIn, so you're commenting on people's posts and you're engaging with content on LinkedIn, people see your name, your face, and your headline, and you want those to be clickable, that people are interested enough to want to click on those to read more about you. then when they get to your profile, they're getting to find out more about how you can help them. So the difference for a small business owner or business owner is your profile should tell me how you can help me. So your about section is not about you. We don't really care about you. As a consumer, we care about how you can help us.
That's a very key thing. Very key thing.
Yeah.
And that would be like a really big hit that somebody could make on their profile today.
Yes.
After or while watching this, you
Yes.
go, yes, just make sure you change that around.
Yes. So for example, if I read your profile, and we write profiles for business owners. If I look at your profile, what your about section, I have a bit of a formula on this. It should open with something that hooks me in. So for you, Robbie, it could be you've done so many lawns or something, something about lawns. Or do you have a terrible lawn and you like your lawn to look better? You like when people come to your house, the first thing they say is how beautiful your garden is. Now you've got me thinking, oh, okay, yeah, I would like that actually. And then underneath, you still don't talk about yourself. You talk about, here's how we help people to achieve the perfect lawn.
Hit those pain points.
Yeah, and then like literally here's our services, here's who we work with. And then the very important bit at the bottom is, here's how to get in touch with us. Visit our website, connect with me here on LinkedIn, but including that call to action, really important. But then you fill in the rest of your profile as well. So in the experience section, you can, a lot of people don't realise this, you can put in links to your videos in your experience section. There's loads of places on your profile that you can link directly to your website, to your YouTube channel, to your book if you have one, and most people don't even know that exists. So really important to fill out the whole profile.
What are the biggest mistakes small businesses make on LinkedIn?
So a lot of people will create a LinkedIn profile and then never look at it again. Even if they are connecting with people and posting content, they may not have updated their profile in 3 years.
How often should you be updating it?
I would check it every 6 months. Are you still offering the same services that you were offering 6 months ago?
Do you think for seasonal businesses like gardeners, it'll be good then to change it
Yes.
at least twice a year? 3 times a year, 4 a year as the seasons change?
Yes.
Make sure your LinkedIn's up to date with it.
Well, the other thing, Robbie, is you've got the featured section at the top of your profile. And people who are watching this are going, I haven't got a featured section. Everyone has it, but they haven't added. If you haven't added it, you don't see it on your own profile. And on that, you put clickable links. So you could have your summer package or your summer offer as a big visual clickable link at the top of your profile, and that can be changed all the time. And I do change that. So if I've got a webinar coming up, I'll make sure my webinar is the first thing in my featured profile. Yeah, so that's one mistake they don't make is they don't update their profile. The second mistake is that they accept anybody and everybody into their network. So what I talk about is building a network of value. So connecting with people who are interesting to you so that when they post stuff on LinkedIn, you enjoy interacting with it. They are interested in what you're talking about. So when you put your post on there, someone actually responds to it. And then obviously people who you'd like to become your clients, your ideal audience, your ideal client members, but also people that they work with as well. And what I mean by that is, if you are someone who offers lawn care and I have the money to invest in outsourcing my lawn care, what else would I be interested in outsourcing in looking after my home and garden? So whoever else I'd be paying for other work,
other home service
providers, you should connect with those people on LinkedIn because it's good to build your network anyway, but also if they're posting about it's time to update your gutters or whatever it is that they're talking about, or when's the last time you had your boiler serviced, when you comment on their posts, their network, which is also full of your ideal clients, will see your name, your face, and your headline.
Would it be appropriate to share that content that other people post that's not necessarily in your niche, or would you just comment on it?
So if you think it's relevant and interesting to your audience, then I would share it with your audience. But what I'm talking about here is a strategy of you commenting on other people's posts where those people also serve your ideal client. And that's how you get seen by those other people, by commenting on those people's posts. But also it's generous to comment on someone else's post because you're helping that person's post get out into the LinkedIn newsfeed as well.
All social media works the same in the fact that whenever you post a bit of content, it shows it to a test audience.
Yep.
And then if they engage with it, it gets pushed out more for the viewers watching. It gets pushed out further and further. Whereas if you post content and nobody engages with it, then nobody sees it. Nobody ends up seeing it.
Yeah.
So how important is it to engage with other types of content or other, as you say, on a scale of 1 to 10?
Yes.
How important do you think it is to comment on other posts?
Is 1 the highest?
Let's say 10's the highest.
10's the highest. I would say you're 9.5. Yeah.
And how often should you be doing that, do you think?
Every day.
Every day.
If you're serious about building your visibility on LinkedIn, you have got to be on there every day. That does not mean you need to post every day. So posting is different. For clients, we post twice a week or 3 times a week, depending on what package they've purchased. But it is as important, if not more, to comment on other people's posts, because that drives people to check out your profile. And on your profile, they can see how you work, what your services are, connect with you, take the next step. That makes sense.
And just on the note, so you were talking about you were talking about growing your network and
Yes.
targeting the right people.
Yes.
What happens if you've been adding your auntie and your uncle and, and all your friends and you have totally the wrong network? Would you think, should you delete those
No.
before moving on? Always leave, never delete?
So this is really funny because I did a LinkedIn Live last week with a lady who's a sales expert, and she would delete. Ruthless salespeople, ruthless, delete. And I said, but if you delete those people or remove them from your network, you disconnect with them, they are no longer going to be seeing your content. So what you do is you look at your news feed, and every time you post from people and you think, I'm not interested and that's not serving me, they don't have an audience that I need, I would unfollow them. So they are still following you, but you're not following them. And then if you put up a post and they think, oh, I think my network would be interested in that, or they comment on it, you're still being seen by other people. So I would never disconnect from somebody unless they were spamming me or they said something that I really disagreed with, like politically or something. Otherwise, I would just unfollow people.
And what type of content do you think is performing the best on LinkedIn at the minute? Or what do you think people should?
Well, there's 2 different answers there, because what has always performed best is the written posts, always. But what LinkedIn are really pushing is video. Like they are LinkedIn, everybody who works at a senior level in LinkedIn is going, short form videos. And it's increasing 36% year on year.
It's quite dry. LinkedIn videos can be quite dry compared to Instagram and TikTok. What do you think is if we're going to be posting short videos, what do you think those videos should look like?
So this is literally what we do for clients. It's talking head videos, vertical videos of someone who is delivering a short piece of expertise on whatever it is people are following them for, and starting conversations. So if you think, right, okay, Louise, after today you think, okay, I'm going to give this a go. I'm going to go onto LinkedIn. I'm going to try and post and connect with people. Instead of thinking, what do I post on LinkedIn to help people with my business? You say, how can I start a conversation with my network? So if you start a conversation, you're posting something, people start commenting underneath, and that is way more important than thinking, what am I going to broadcast at my network here? So think about relationships and conversations is the key. But for the video, short form video, under 2 minutes with captions.
I always joke on LinkedIn, people talk a different language. People talk in a language they wouldn't normally talk in. It's because it can be so corporate. For small business owners, do you think that's the right approach, or do you think they're better showing personality?
Show up as yourself.
Yeah.
Like Robbie, if you showed up on LinkedIn in a suit, and then I thought, oh yes, well, nobody wants someone to come do their lawn in a suit, do they? If you show up on LinkedIn as the person you are, who I'd meet you in real life, the way you show up in your career, if that makes sense. So my favourite analogy about how to look at LinkedIn is, if you're going to an industry event, so what would be if you went to a conference, what would it be? What would it be about?
I was going to actually say, whenever I first started up, I used to win more quotes whenever I turned up to a quote with wellies and looking like a proper gardener.
Yeah.
If I didn't have the wellies on, if I turned up in trainers, my success rate wasn't as high.
You would look professional for your business, yeah.
So in that regards, you want to carry that over onto your content?
Yes. So if you were going to, you didn't answer my question about your conference, would you go, say you went to a conference about homes and gardens?
I'd probably go on like what I'm wearing now.
Well, there you are. Well, that's how you should show up on LinkedIn, right? So if you think about preparing for that conference, you're thinking, well, what am I going to wear? Well, I want to wear my branded outfit. So your profile on LinkedIn, you should be wearing your branded outfit. You should have your branding across the top as if you're showing up at the in-person conference. The same thing, you go to the conference and the people that you meet there are the people you want to connect with on LinkedIn, because that's the people who are also interested in their homes and gardens.
Yeah.
There's no point in you connecting with people who are interested in, I don't know, lifestyle nutrition or something, if that's not what you're interested in, because then you'd be going to LinkedIn thinking, oh, this is really boring. I'm fed up hearing about the 5-2 diet because I'm not interested in it. So you think LinkedIn's boring. Or somebody who talks about, I don't know, interview questions. So show up as you would if you were going to an industry specific event. That's how you should show up on LinkedIn.
So reason for, pretty professionally, obviously not your casual gear, what you would typically wear.
Not what you're wearing to the pub on a Saturday, but what if I met you for a conversation about hiring you, how would you show up? That's how you should show up on your videos and in your content on LinkedIn.
Just moving on, small business owners don't have a lot of time, and we want to start posting at least once a day.
Okay.
If somebody only has 10 minutes to give a LinkedIn every day, what do you think they should be?
Well, they definitely wouldn't be posting once a day. I don't want anyone to think they have to post once a day. Once a week. If you're starting out, once a week is plenty of time to post. If you have 10 minutes a day, you're not going to make a lot of headway on LinkedIn, to be honest, because you want to check your notifications. You probably, if you're trying to build your network, you want to try and connect with 3 or 4 people every time you're on there. You might want to send a message to somebody that you, like, say you come to my book launch and you meet somebody there and I introduce you.
When's your book launch? My
book launch is Thursday, the 20th of February in Belfast.
Well, this might not be.
No, however.
Jason, you're editing this.
But say you meet somebody at that event and they want to have a conversation with you about their lawns, then you're going to swap business cards, and that's the equivalent of you connecting on LinkedIn. And you're going to follow up with maybe a phone call later. That's you message them and saying, oh, do you remember we met at Louise's book launch event and we were having a conversation about your launch? Would you be in? Do you want to know any more information? So 10 minutes.
Not enough.
It's not really enough if you want to be serious about this. I would say you could do 30 minutes a day. So why not say, okay, I'm going to post every Tuesday, and then I'm going to go in on Wednesday and Thursday and Friday for 20 minutes, and I'm going to check my notifications. Has anyone responded to my posts or comments? Can I comment on 2 or 3 other people's posts in the news feed? And then, going back to the analogy about being at an in-person conference, when you're at the conference, you don't go to something and not speak to people. If you went to an industry event, you would have conversations with people, right? So the equivalent of that is going on to LinkedIn and never writing any response to anybody's posts. You don't go to an event and just go, hi, and walk away. Sure you don't. No, you don't. So if I met you at an event, we would be in the queue for coffee, and you say, oh, just saw Jason on the stage there, loved what he's talking about. Did you catch that? Blah, blah, blah. You're having a conversation. So that's what the comments should be more like. It should be more, I love what you said in this post about XYZ. Did you ever think about this other thing? But also in the comments is where you find the people to connect with, because they're also interested in this topic. And then you say, hi Robbie, I saw your comment on Jason's post and I'd love to add you to my network. It is as simple as that.
Would you do that in the comments below whatever they were talking about, or would you message them privately saying?
You'd message them privately. So, and the other thing is LinkedIn, unless you have a premium account, you can only send 5 connection requests with messages a month. If you have a premium account, you can send as many as you want. So you can send a connection request, and then once they accept your connection, then message them and say, it was really nice. I love what you said about blah, blah, blah on Louise's post, and that's why I wanted to connect with you. So always follow it up with a message, because that's your conversations that you're having with people that you meet.
That leads me on to my next question. What happens if your engagement is low? Then you just start following the steps. Just go on to LinkedIn and post. Try and engage with people.
Your engagement will not be low if you follow this advice.
That's the title there.
That's very glib. So is your network full of people who are interesting and are interested in what you have to say? Are you writing posts that starts conversations? Not broadcasting or sales messages. Nobody wants to be sold to.
Yeah.
And how do you start a conversation with somebody? Like, how do you literally start a conversation with somebody?
What about you?
Exactly. There's a question, right?
Yeah.
So you write something, you share something of value to the audience that helps them. Could be tips about improving your lawn or things to prepare over winter for your lawn, etc. And then you ask a question. And it could be, have you implemented any of these tips? People will start to respond to your post when you ask them a question. It's so simple.
Yeah, because it turns it into the hook. Really?
Yeah, but if you just say, here are 5 ways to improve your lawn this winter, and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, what's going to happen? People are going to go, oh, tick, move on. But if you say, have you done any of these, or what would you add to this? People start to comment underneath, and then it becomes a post that gets engagement.
What kind of posts generate the most leads, and what's a common mistake that's made?
So LinkedIn is a long game. You're not going to start posting on LinkedIn and get leads straight away. All right. So if you show up and deliver value to your audience and focus on, somebody said you have to give one message 1,000 times. And what a lot of people do is they give 1,000 messages one time. So if you have one key message you want to get across to people and just keep talking about that thing, you become seen as an expert in that space. And then when someone needs your help, they need lawn care or they need someone to do LinkedIn workshops for their team, it's a no-brainer to pick you because that's what you talk about. And you become very referable by people in your network. So it's not that we do posts that get leads. However, I've got a brilliant story for you. This is it's in my book. I'm about a lady who's a PowerPoint trainer, Fiona. So Fiona and I worked together. We did her profile together. We did this thing I call it the LinkedIn VIP package, where we do update your profile together, and I teach you how to use LinkedIn, basically. And so Fiona did that with me, and she started. All of her content is about how to use Microsoft PowerPoint, right? How to do better presentations, all the tips and tricks about Microsoft PowerPoint. That's all she talks about. And so she worked with a company in Dublin and had done some PowerPoint slides for them. And then because she's on LinkedIn, she follows her clients on LinkedIn. She's connected to them. And so she follows there and she engages with their content. So one of the people in this company had posted to say that they'd just gone through a company-wide rebrand. And she thought, oh, I wonder have they rebranded their Microsoft Office suite? Because most people don't think of doing that. So she went straight on to LinkedIn and wrote a post about when you're rebranding for your company, don't forget to do your Microsoft Office rebrand as well, so that all of your PowerPoint slides match the company's new rebrand. And the lady, because she did it so fast, the lady who had seen it was also following her, sent her a private message and said, I love the post that you just did. We didn't think about that. Could we have a conversation about that, please? And 2 weeks later, she went up to Dublin and walked away with €50,000 worth of work.
Nice.
Of one post. So if you are consistent and talk about the same thing over and over again.
Just keep hammering it home.
And actually, my friend, my son and I volunteer at the community garden in Monkstown. And the lady that runs it, she said to me, I love LinkedIn. It's full of gardeners. I was like, is it? It's because I don't follow gardeners on LinkedIn. But her LinkedIn feed is full of people who talk passionately about gardening. So you build the network that you want, and how you become seen as a thought leader in that space is by delivering value and being of service to the audience.
So what was the benefit of her putting the post up and not directly messaging the company that did the rebrand?
So first of all, they hadn't asked for help with their Microsoft. They hadn't even thought about it. So I don't think that she necessarily thought that company was going to hire her for that. She thought, oh, when a company does a rebrand, they should be rebranded. It gave her an idea for a post about remember to rebrand your content. Now, she could have then, if they hadn't reached out to her on that, she could then have sent them a private message and say, I saw your post about your rebrand, and I've just shared some tips on how to update your Microsoft Office suite when you have a rebrand. I thought you might find that useful. So that could have led into opening that conversation up, but she didn't need to because they came to her.
Because as well as that, one of my questions on the podcast is how to make sales without being salesy and messaging people. Yeah. So again, your posts can act like a message instead of, because whenever you get a cold call message through
nobody likes it.
I've never engaged with one of them.
No. So the way my business works, so the majority of our revenue is through the content done for you service, right? And that is not something someone's going to go, oh, we should pay for that, because it's not a small ticket price offer, right? However, what people might make a more instant decision on is booking in a workshop or doing a training. So I run monthly webinars called How to Raise Your Visibility on LinkedIn. Sometimes it's on a slightly different topic, but that was what the last one was. So if you connect with me and you're a new connection, I will say, oh, it's lovely. I always send a message, always. And I'll say, oh, thanks for connecting. I see we both know Robbie. It's really nice to meet you. If they then respond, I would say, oh, I've actually got a webinar coming up in 2 weeks' time. Would you be interested in hearing more about it? And I learned this from a sales coach that I work with in America, Nikki. And she said, don't say, here's the link. She said, ask their permission to send them the link. So would you be interested in hearing about it? Now, in American language, it's different. She says, may I send you the link? I would never, that wouldn't be my vocabulary. So I would say, I'm running a webinar in a couple of weeks' time. Would you be interested in hearing more about it? And if they say, and they always say yes, because I'm just being really polite and friendly, and I'm trying to give them something that actually, it's a free webinar. So they'll say yes, and I'll say, oh, here's the link to sign up. And actually what that does is then that gets them on my email list, and then we start building the relationship.
How important is it to build a mailing list then?
Oh, it's vital. Absolutely vital.
And how do you do that from LinkedIn?
There's loads of ways. So on your featured section, you have a link to sign up for whatever lead magnet you have. Webinars are my number one way that people sign up to my email list, and that's why I do them once a month. So, and I'll have that in the featured section. If you have a LinkedIn premium account, depending on when you sign up for it, it can be between £40 and £70. Different. There's always ways to get them cheaper. Like if you go to cancel it, they cut it £25. So anyway, if you have a premium account, you have a clickable link that sits on your what's called your introductory card. So that's the bit at the top of your profile with your name, your headline, your background photograph, all that. That's your introductory card. And then you have a clickable button. So mine is usually book an appointment. I think at the minute it might be visit my website, and that's to drive sales of the book. So you've got book an appointment, and then that links to your Calendly or whatever, or download free guide to the best lawn care. And that could be to get people onto your email list. Then, because it's a premium account, every post that I do on LinkedIn, underneath my name and my headline, has the clickable link.
All right. So
book an appointment. Or visit my website or whatever.
You only get that if you're premium members.
Yeah. And then throughout your profile. So remember I said you can add videos and links to videos in your featured section, and links to videos in your experience section, links to lead magnets in your experience section as well.
So that would bring me on posting videos directly onto LinkedIn or linking them off to YouTube or somewhere.
No social media platform likes you to link elsewhere, do they? Somebody asked me this the other day. Sometimes I just think, do you know what? I'm just going to link to it anyway. So I don't ever upload my YouTube videos as native video to LinkedIn because I'm building a channel so I have a video channel on YouTube with 107,000 subscribers, and it's all videos about how to use LinkedIn. So I'm not putting those videos onto LinkedIn. I'm linking. I do link to them.
You want to carry on growing that audience?
Yes.
Your audience is on your audience on there.
Yeah, it's a slightly different audience, yes. And the other thing is, if I write a post, so say I'll do a post saying 5 LinkedIn profile mistakes you're making, and then I'll go through all 5, and then I'll say, are you making one of these mistakes? Because remember I asked the question. And I post that, and then I'll put a link to a video that connects to that as the first comment in my comments, so people will still go and visit the videos.
Are you best then if you're wanting to post an off link away from LinkedIn, write your post, and then first comment always bang in the link off?
If you do a post and the YouTube link is in the post, you will get less reach.
You definitely,
in my experience.
You definitely see that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's something that LinkedIn are controlling then.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, they want people to stay on the platform. Yeah. Like they all do. All these social media platforms are very greedy.
For someone hesitant to post,
yes.
What's the easiest way of doing it without overthinking?
Okay. Let's reimagine ourselves walking in to our conference full of our ideal clients. You're not going to get any business that day or any contacts if you do not open your mouth. So you just have to get over it and start posting something. But if you think I'm going to post something that I think people are going to find useful, I'm being helpful to someone, it makes it a wee bit easier. Don't overthink it. People are like, oh, but all the people I used to work with in the bank will see my posts. Well, they probably won't. Anyway,
they're not engaging with you.
Yeah, but also they're probably not really interested in lawns or in LinkedIn. You know what I mean? So I do think the easier thing to do is to start commenting on other people's posts. Absolutely. But you have got to start creating your own conversations. And it's like everything in life. Once you've done it once or twice, nobody's jumped out of the computer, said, like, shouted at you.
For somebody struggling to write something, what's your thoughts on using OpenAI or AI in general to...
My thoughts on that are very negative. Now, of course we use AI. You cannot continue to grow your business in 2025 without AI.
Yeah, it's everywhere now. Yep.
But what we use it for is, well, I don't really struggle with content ideas for LinkedIn, but then that's literally what my business is. But what I would say is, if you're thinking, well, Louise, this all sounds great, but what am I actually going to talk about on LinkedIn? You can go to AI and say, and it's what you prompt it. You say, so this is my business. These are the people that I want to connect with. My goal is to start conversations with people. What can I talk about on LinkedIn that will start conversations with this ideal group of people? And then it will spit out a load of ideas. You don't copy what it says. You take those ideas and you put them into your own words. So hopefully that's an easier way to get started. But if you copy and paste AI content into LinkedIn, it just falls flat. People can see it.
Yes, I think people can see it. Really, you can really tell, because it's words that...
It's just generic.
Words that you don't really use in every day. I would use the right scripts from my videos. We would always change it.
Yeah, yes. Make it personalised. Yeah, absolutely.
When posting or creating content on LinkedIn, do you think it's better to do it on a desktop or through the phone? Or what do you think better? Are each one suited to different things, or is it easy enough to use across both platforms?
Well, I think it depends on your age. So I turned 50 last year. I am very used to desktop. So that's where I do all my social media from. Happy birthday, Joss. So I'm very focused on desktop, because that's how I learn, that's how I create content, that's how I produce stuff. But actually lots of people prefer mobile on LinkedIn. And this is not out yet, but they are going to allow LinkedIn Live to come straight from your mobile. It's happening in New Zealand. LinkedIn tests stuff out in Australia and New Zealand before they roll out to the rest of the world. But also, the people that develop the LinkedIn desktop software are a different team to the people who develop the LinkedIn mobile app software. So sometimes you'll see new features that appear on mobile that don't appear on desktop, and vice versa, and they can be slightly different. So, like, for example, your main menu is on desktop, it's across the top, but on your mobile, it's across the bottom. So it is slightly different. I cannot type fast with my thumbs on my phone. I am a touch typist, so I use my desktop.
Struggle to do it on the phone.
Yeah. Yes, no, you're not 50 last year, Robin. You're doing desktop.
This year, unfortunately. But yeah, still desktop. I just can't use my phone. I know loads of people run their businesses from their phone, but it just, apart from job work, like, everything's...
But if someone's watching this and they're thinking, well, I do everything on my phone, Louise, then you learn LinkedIn on your mobile. Of course you do. You use whatever works for you.
Well, we went slightly off-piste there.
What a surprise.
How can businesses turn LinkedIn clients into genuine, actual connections and generate revenue from it?
Yes. So it's okay to sell. I mean, you are in business and you do need to actually generate income and revenue, and you get that through clients. So if we were to do your content for you, we had our contract says we do 8 posts a month for you. So out of those 8 posts, I would say value and then invite to conversation. At least 1 post a month should be. If you're interested in having a conversation about this, then do reach out and get in touch with us, for example. But also, when we look at your profile, there should be multiple opportunities on there for me to think, how do I work with you? And if you've been having conversations with somebody, and to me, the sales always happens in the direct messages. Always. Nobody is interested in your posts will comment on your post and say, that sounds really good. Can you send me a quote? I'd be amazed if that happened. It might be slightly different it might be different in
probably
the
not.
homes and gardens space. It could be, but I would doubt it. So if I'm getting somebody who is asking a few questions in the direct messages, I might say, this is actually something we help our clients with. Would you like to have a chat about that? And that takes them to the next level or the next stage.
What's the best way to reach a decision maker without coming across as being spammy?
So you mean the best way to find the decision maker?
Yeah, find the right person to make that connection with so you can make a sale.
Yes, so one of my clients is a very nice man he's in California, and he said to me, so we do all his content for him. And I said, what is it, Mark, that you would like to get out of this work we're doing together? And he said, well, I would like to speak on stages. And I said, right, well, here's our strategy. So we don't log in as anybody onto LinkedIn because that's against the rules, and it'll get accounts blocked and shut down. And that's the number one thing I asked about my YouTube channel. Louise, my account is locked down. And then they swear blind they didn't do anything wrong. They probably did.
Sorry, what locks you down for a YouTube channel?
On LinkedIn, if you are spamming people or if you're using third-party apps that are not on the approved list, that's the big one. There's a lot of people selling third-party apps that say, oh, we'll do your automated messages for you. That is a big no-no. That'll get your account shut down. And if you get your account shut down, lights out, you can't get it back. Okay? So please don't do that. But anyway, to go back to Mark. Mark said, I want to get to speak on stages and conferences. And I said, right, so what is the industry? Well, I know the industry, but I'm not going to talk specifically about Mark's industry. But let's say Mark is a photographer and wants to speak at a conference in front of lots of people who will hire him for his photography or videography work. So what are the top 5 conferences that you'd like to speak at? Let's find those organizations on LinkedIn. We're going to follow their company page. And if you look at company page posts on LinkedIn, so you've got personal profiles and company pages. They're two different things. Personal profile is you and me walking about the conference, chatting to people. The company page is more like the sponsor booth at the conference. So you and I are chatting and I say, how do I work with you? And you say, oh, go over to my sponsor booth and find out there. So the company page is a bit more of a traditional marketing space. So follow the company pages of those top 5 conferences.
How should the company page be set up?
So the company page is your professional branding, links to your website. It is completely different to your personal profile. It's probably easier for people to go to my YouTube channel and look at how to create a company page because it's a whole process.
We'll leave a link to that down in there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Any team member should also be connected to that company page. So you follow the company page and you will notice that nobody really comments on anybody's company page content. So by commenting on their posts, you are raising your visibility with that company, that organization.
Hello, I'm here.
Yeah, that's it. Because nobody, and they're, oh, who's that guy, Rob? Oh, look, he's a speaker. That's really interesting. And then look at the people attached to that company page. So on a company page menu, you've got the about section and you've got the posts and then you've got the people. You click on the people and you'll see who works there. And then it's really interesting. You can filter them by location and filter them by their job title. So find the person that you want to connect with and then send that person a connection request. Now, HR people are plagued with this on LinkedIn because everybody who wants to deliver corporate workshops is connecting with the HR people and they never post anything on LinkedIn because they know that's what happens. But that's, again, in the private messages. If you can connect with that person and say, I saw that you're hosting your next conference on on photography, and I thought it'd be really great to connect. They're going to accept your connection request. And then you're going to share content that talks about when you're delivering a workshop or speaking about photography, here's the key things you need to remember to connect. The key here, the interesting thing is when you connect with somebody, LinkedIn will show them your next post. It won't show them all your posts, but we'll show them your next post.
So that next post has to be that next post.
Yes. But remember, say the same thing 1,000 times, Robbie. Just keep hammering the same messages over and over again. I'm not saying literally say the same thing.
Yeah, but don't redesign the wheel.
Yeah, if you're talking about photography and being the best photographer and photography skills, don't jump over and start talking about gardening because then then you've lost your audience.
We have a saying in Premier Lawns, kiss. Keep it simple,
Keep it simple, yeah.
Yep.
A simple sweetheart's nicer. Nicer.
He starts calling me sweetheart, but
or keep it simple, sister.
To go back to again, just the profile. How much personal information should you share on LinkedIn, or should you not share any?
So let's go back to our conference. You're going to walk into a Home and Gardens conference, Robbie. How much personal information are you sharing?
Probably not a lot.
Not a lot. You're probably talking about business and the industry and all that stuff.
Yeah, just keep it.
What would you be sharing about your personal life at a in-person business networking event that, unless it's somebody you've known for years, do you know what I mean? Just like, here's I got this book out from the library. I'm like, oh, okay, that's interesting.
Unless it's about gardening.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What do you want to be known for?
Yeah.
This is a business networking platform.
Yep.
What advice would you give to businesses that are struggling for visibility?
Well, I have the perfect answer here. It's by my book.
Tell us about your book.
Okay, so the way the book is written is supposed to be really easy to digest, which actually is what the Amazon reviews are saying, which is perfect. So it is for the person who is terrified of posting on LinkedIn because they think it's full of suits and businesses and highbrow people and that they're going to look foolish.
That's my impression of LinkedIn.
Yeah, so it's literally what most people hire me for. It's like, I need to be on LinkedIn. I know my target audience is on there. It terrifies me, right? People only say that to you when they're on a one-to-one Zoom call. They would never say that to you, at a networking event.
At the conference?
Yeah, at the
conference whenever you're walking around?
So now we're in the direct messages. Now they're like, it actually terrifies me. So this book is written in a way to hold your hand through it. And it's really, if you want to raise your visibility on LinkedIn, you have got to build a really good foundation, and that's your profile. You've got to do the work on the profile. So then we look at your profile, we know you're the right person for us to want to connect with. And then it's all about, so there's content, connections, and building community with people. So showing up once or twice a week, writing a post that starts conversations, building a network of value, so people that you are interested in are interesting and you enjoy having conversations with. If someone connects with you and then you never post anything, they're going to forget that they connected with you. This actually happens all the time. People will reach out to you and say, I've been following you on LinkedIn for 3 years. And you're thinking, who the heck are you? I don't know who you are. But actually, it's a little secret. If you click on the contact info, which is it's not even a button, it's a blue clickable link on their introductory card. At the bottom of that box, it'll tell you when you connected. It'll say, oh, you connected with this person in August 2019.
Be good as well for sales, I'd imagine. If
If
somebody reaches out to you and say, oh, I haven't heard from you in ages.
So another wee tip, and this is why I always send a message to somebody. You connect with somebody, and if they haven't sent you a message, you send them a message and you say, it was lovely to meet you in San Diego at Social Media Marketing World. And the reason you're doing that is when that person sends you a message or in 6 months' time, or they pop up in a search you're doing, and you think, oh, I'm ready to connect with that person. And you click in the messages, you can see, oh,
I've
I met
already,
them in
yes,
San Diego. So it's like a wee note to yourself as well. It's a way of tagging that person. They don't know that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
But
Well, they do now.
so anybody that connects with me after listening to this or watching this, say, I heard you on Robbie's podcast, and then I'll go, right.
I'll have to do another one. What recent LinkedIn changes should businesses pay attention to?
The massive thing about video. They're just really pushing video. When actually, if you're terrified to write a post on LinkedIn, how on earth do you get over the fear of doing video? And that's, most people will never want to do video and get themselves on video.
So whenever I started my YouTube channel, for anyone that doesn't know, I run another YouTube channel, does all right. And my first load of videos were all voiceovers. So we just put a camera up and then recorded and then went into an office.
Yes.
And done my voiceover. I had another fella on this channel, Warren, from Warren York Hypnotist.
Right.
So he helps small business owners get over like imposter syndrome and whatnot. But I went to him to try and get over my fear of talking to camera because...
Well, it's not natural.
Yes, if I was a better looking fella, I would have get more views. But I struggled talking to the camera, or I used to struggle talking to the camera. I'm not so bad now. But he says, look, one of the easiest tips is just to like walk down into your local park and just walk about and hold the camera up. You could be talking about your shopping, you could be talking about what you did, and some people might look at you, but then after 1 or 2 times, it gets a lot easier. You realise that everyone doesn't care. No one cares.
No one cares.
No one cares. So just like go.
That's such a funny example, though, Robbie, because I was thinking about this. I would never in a million years walk down the street or video myself talking to a camera. I just can't imagine that I would do that. Whereas I think sitting at home behind my desk talking into the camera I have no issue with doing that, but it took me a long time to start doing that. I was doing that back in 2017, 2016, when I was doing like Facebook pages and stuff. And now I'm completely comfortable with it. But I don't think I could walk down the street with a selfie stick videoing myself talking. So isn't it funny? Everyone has their wee things that they don't want to...
The other thing is bullet points, is to have short bullet points of what you want to cover.
Yes.
So anytime you say a sentence, then after you finish that sentence, then just cut and then move to a different scene and then talk to that camera.
Yeah.
And then cut and then go to a different scene and then go back to that camera. The really easy way
Yes.
to spit out a lot of information is to have the bullet points and then just have it structured.
Yes. So people who don't have like a setup, or like most people don't have two cameras to talk to. So if you're doing this, say even just on your camera, on your phone or on your computer, get like sticky notes and write your bullet points on them and just stick them literally beside the camera to keep yourself on track as well. But I think today there's so many editing tools.
That's brilliant.
There's CapCut, and we used a script where you literally edit through the text. And this is where, so with our clients, I have persuaded these people to get on video. And when we first do sales calls, I always say, "Are you okay with video?" And they're like, "Ooh." And I say, "It's okay. I completely hold your hand. Like I literally, not physically hold your hand, but I am there. I'm cheerleading you on, and we edit everything. So don't worry about it." And like last week, we have a big client there across Europe and the US, and they said, "Can we do video content with our cybersecurity guy?" And then about a week later, my contact at the company said, "Do you know what, Louise? I don't think he's going to do this with you. He's really nervous. Can I do the video with him instead?" And I was like, "Well, if you want to, but let me speak to him first." He's happy as Larry. We're recording this week because I really make them feel at their ease. And I also said, I will send you all the video before it goes anywhere. Even before it goes to your boss, I'll send it to you. You make sure you're happy with it.
I always joke, nobody sees the 100 cuts. Nobody sees all the...
No. So we're laughing because
nobody sees 100 cuts beforehand.
My sister's a photographer, and I don't like anyone else doing my photographs because the faces I pull are horrendous and my very wavy arms on stage. But Tara just makes me look like such a professional. So that's wonderful.
Very good. We pride ourselves in the podcast. We always like to give actionable tips that people can take away from the podcast. Now, if you've been listening to this, there should be a lot already.
Yes.
However, what other actionable tips can people do? Or let's just say, if one tip, what is the super most important LinkedIn tip that somebody can take away from this today?
Show up. Show up. So there's more than, you can't limit me to one. I talk about 4 pillars of LinkedIn. Look at your 4 pillars. Number 1 is your foundation of everything that you do, and that's having a really good LinkedIn profile. So spend the time optimizing your LinkedIn profile. I have so much free content on this on YouTube. You can just watch those videos.
We'll definitely leave a link to that down below. Yep.
You can buy the book and walk through it. Depends what way you like to digest your information, and have a podcast all about that stuff. So number 1, get your profile set. Number 2, create a network of value. Connect with people who are going to serve you and make your life interesting on LinkedIn and hopefully become clients. Number 3, content. You have got to post something on this platform if you want to get seen. And the 4th thing is community. And that's the engagement piece with other people's content as well.
And really ask questions in your posts.
Yes.
Don't just post, ask questions.
Yes. And if you want to come to one of my free webinars, I run them every month. You're very welcome. You can give you a link to that too.
Yeah, I'm sure, Louise, you've got loads and loads of really good success stories. Give us one where somebody transformed their business through using the power of LinkedIn.
Okay. I think a lot of your listeners might not think LinkedIn's for them. So this is a story of an artist, but bear with me. Okay. So there's a lady that I met in just before the pandemic. And I went to an event and I was speaking about how to use LinkedIn. And this lady was at this event and she said to me afterwards, "I've never thought about LinkedIn for my business because I'm an artist." And I said, "Well, you want people who have money to pay you, right? The very base level, we all want clients who've got money. The LinkedIn network has more money than the other social media platforms. It's why I focused on LinkedIn back in 2018, because when I went on LinkedIn and I talked about what I did, I got business much faster, and I got business from people who had money to invest in their services. So I said to this lady, you sell art, and it's easier to sell something to somebody who has the money to spend on what you're selling. So whether you are someone who's going to come in and do a whole office refurb, or someone who's going to buy a piece of art, it's easier to sell something to someone who has the cash to spend on what it is you're selling. So she said, right, okay. So she started posting on LinkedIn and talking about her art, and she would literally stand with a painting that she'd done, but she would talk about how the process came about from coming up with the ideas for the art. The people who started to buy from her were people who were decorating their workspace and their offices. So people are on LinkedIn because they're there for their business network, but they're also humans. They're also interested in life. So she started to...
The real story.
Yeah, she started to not be able to keep up with the demand of the sales. And then she got someone, and I didn't even know this was happening. So I did an interview then with her. I'm a small business champion for Small Business Britain in the UK. It's one of the, I'm so proud of it. It's how I got to Buckingham Palace through this whole thing.
I was going to ask you shortly about Buckingham Palace.
So I did, on Small Business Saturday, I always try and do something around small businesses. So I got 25, I think, people who ran small businesses in Northern Ireland onto a 4-hour live stream. It's ridiculous. They were all timed, and they were brilliant. They all showed up on time, and I did a spotlight on their business. So this lady came onto the show, and it was about a year since I had told her, I think you should go on LinkedIn because people on LinkedIn have money to spend. I mean, people might think that's a bit crass, but go where the money is, right? If you're building a business. And she says, Louise, you have changed my life. I was like, what do you mean? She says, people are buying my art, and they're buying 3 or 4 pieces at a time to put in their office space. Then a journalist contacted her who wrote for Vogue and invited her into, she was in an article in Vogue as a result of this. Massive. And then somebody who manufactures furniture saw her, contacted her, and she got a contract to put her art onto high-end furniture. And that was all from being on LinkedIn. And at the start, she's like, why would I be on LinkedIn? I'm on Instagram. So I love that story. And I love that I found out about it while I was doing this 4-hour live stream, so it was fab.
It's amazing. And so tell us about Buckingham Palace. How did you get invited to that, and what's the deal?
I got an email in 2022. So Charles had just been made king, I think, in the September. And I got this email in October, and it said, it was very
Does it have a nice lawn?
Well, I was inside at night in the dark, so I don't know. So I got this email from His Majesty's office, and I was like, oh, what is this? You get something in an email, and you're like...
From an African king?
Don't think this is real. But so I went onto LinkedIn, and I looked this guy up, and he didn't have a lot of people, but it did say that's what his job was. So I reached out then to a friend of mine who I'd met in London before, and she was connected to him. And I said, do you know this person? Is this real? And she was like, Louise, that is absolutely real. That's amazing. Well done. So I replied, and then I got the cream embossed invitation in the post.
Delightful.
It's framed on my wall behind my desk. So I got invited to Buckingham Palace, and there was 400 small business owners invited. So it was a reception. So when Charles became king, he hosted a series of small receptions for different members of the community. And this was the small business reception. And when I got there, I couldn't believe it. I had a pink ticket and everybody else had a blue ticket, right? So I walked in, so excited and so nervous that I was going to throw up. And it's amazing inside. It is so amazing, and the staff are all over you. It's like what you imagine it would be like. So we go upstairs and everyone's getting their name badges, and I go over to the B section for Brogan, and the lady can't find my name badge. And I was like, oh my lord, I knew this was too good to be true. Are they going to throw me out? I'm not meant to be here. And another lady came over and said, oh, we can't find Louise's name badge. And she went and checked her list. She says, oh, you've to come with me. I was like, oh, right, okay. So 390 people had blue tickets and 10 people had pink tickets. And we were taken over to this other room, and there's this wee table, gold ornate table with like 10 name badges on it. And I just said to the lady, could you please tell me what's happening? I had no idea what was going on. She says, oh, you've been selected to meet the king ahead of the reception. And I was like, pardon? I said, how did that happen? And she was from Cullybackey or somewhere.
All right.
And she could just see, I was just going, what? And she said, just enjoy it. So they took us into this big fancy reception room. It was really funny. It was like a butler came over with champagne, and I took a glass of champagne, took a sip of it and thought I was going to throw up. And I just set it down on some side table, like it's probably from the 12th century or something. So they put us in this lineup, and I was in the lineup with Mary Portas and Peter Jones from Dragon's Den and the Minister for the Economy. And I have a video of this because my friend, who's a video expert, scraped the video from Yahoo's news website. And there's a video of me in this lineup, and I look like I'm 5 years old at the best birthday party ever. I'm literally jumping around in this lineup. So then the king came in with Prince Edward and the two cousins that are dukes, and they went down the line and spoke to everybody, and it was amazing. And then it was a whirlwind, and after it finished, they peeled us off and put us back into the main room through the red velvet ropes. And then we were there for a 2-hour reception. I was just like on cloud nine for the next 2 hours. And then when I came outside, it was raining. I remember it was absolutely pouring with rain and my feet were getting soaked. And I rang all my family. So they take your phone off you in Buckingham Palace. You're not allowed your phone. They literally gave it back to me in a little gold plastic bag that says Buckingham Palace on it.
All right.
It's just so fun, all these mad wee things. And I came outside and I phoned my mum and my sisters and my husband. And I remember my sister said to me, I said, I met the king. And she went, of course you did, Louise. So it was amazing. And I've been like, honestly, it's still the pinned post on my LinkedIn company page. Such a moment.
So, you've mentioned your book.
Yes.
What else is coming up for Louise Brogan?
I'm speaking in San Diego at Social Media Marketing World at the end of March, which is a big deal. Before that, I'm going to an event at the House of Lords for celebrating female entrepreneurs in the UK, which is going to be just a very lovely event. And then I'm speaking at TubeFest in Birmingham in April about my YouTube channel and how...
Smashing it.
I have this thing called How to Cope with Video. Falls in with the whole, with the whole way I try and help people to get comfortable with using LinkedIn, it's my approach to business. I'm not going to shout at anybody. I'm not a shouty person.
Hope we haven't shouted at you today.
No, you haven't shouted at me. Thank you, Robbie. So it's about the cope with videos, how to create once, publish everywhere, which I have background in IT, software engineering, which you probably wouldn't think. Like I did a degree in geography, then I did IT. I had 10 years working in IT, software engineering, project management. And so I like a good acronym. I do actually love to geek out on data and analytics as well. So cope with videos to create once, publish everywhere. And that's what I'm going to be talking about at TubeFest, and actually at Social Media Marketing World, how we create a whole month's worth of content for LinkedIn from one hour's video.
I suppose that's the other thing to take away. If somebody's making a bit of content for LinkedIn, it can be shared across the other networks as well.
Oh, of course it can. So one of our clients, Lynn, we do all her video content and writing for LinkedIn. And then, so our clients own the content. We give them all the videos. So she repurposes that video content over to Instagram.
Louise, this has been an absolutely super podcast. But where can people find more information about you if they want to work with you?
Well, louisebrogan.com is my website. Obviously, come and connect with me on LinkedIn and say that you heard it on the podcast and get a copy of your book on Amazon. Please.
Super. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Absolute pleasure.